Students, in this very short video, we are going to quickly revise some of the important questions from sexual reproduction in flowering plants, 12 CBSE biology, and these questions has been asked in previous NEET exam. So, entomophily, children, the meaning of entomophily is pollination through insects. So, in this type of pollination, attractants reward are required. Attractants means colorful flower, rewards in the sense nectar, that is required. A dioecious flowering plants prevents both. First of all, dioecious means unisexual flower. So they can prevent both autogamy means self pollination and even geitonogamy. Geitonogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of two different flowers of the same plant. Both can be prevented in dioecious flowering plants. Next, functional megaspore is in an angiosperm develops into embryo sac. Embryo sacs develops from the functional megaspore, and double fertilization is exhibited by angiosperms. Seeds formation without fertilization in flowering plants involves the process of apomixis. Apomixis means formation of seed but without fertilization. Now, the proximal end of filament of stamen, if you see the structure of anther and filament, that is the stamen, this filament is attached to this proximal end of the stamen is attached to thalamus or to the petal of the flower. The coconut water from tender coconut represents free nuclear endosperm. After double fertilization, there is a triple fusion to form primary endosperm nucleus. This undergo mitosis to produce free nuclear endosperm. One of the best example is coconut water. Cotyledon of maize grain is scutellum, because maize is a monocot. Pollination in water hyacinth and water lily is brought about by an agency of insects or wind. Although they are water plants, aquatic plants, but pollination is occurred either through insects or through wind. The ovule of an angiosperm is technically equivalent to megasporangium. Ovule is technically equal to megasporangium. Male gametophyte in angiosperms produce two male gametes and one vegetative cell. In pollen grain, we can find there will be a vegetative cell, and generative cell produce two sperms or two male gametes. The wheat grains or any monocot has an embryo with one large shield-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum. Filiform apparatus are the characteristic features of synergids. They are going to guide the pollen tube during fertilization. Pollen tubes are available in the market for supplement of food because they are nutritive in nature, and organic substance that can withstand environmental extremes and cannot be degraded by any enzyme is sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is present in the outer layer of pollen grain called exine. The arrangement of nuclei in the normal embryo sac in dicot plant is 3+2+2. 3 antipodals, 2 central cell nuclei, and 3 are egg apparatus. Then how many pollen grains will be formed after meiotic division in 10 microspore mother cell? Children, 1 microspore mother cell produce 4 pollen grains after meiosis. By forming 4 microspore tetrad, you will get 4 pollen grains. So from 10 microspore mother cell, 40 pollen grains will be formed after meiotic division. Syphonogamy means fertilization involving carrying male gametes by pollen tube. Pollen tube which carries the male gamete during fertilization in angiosperm, that technically called as syphonogamy. And chief pollinators in agricultural crops are bees. And porogamy means entry of pollen tube through the micropyle.